All right, guys. So the Carolina Panthers 2023 schedule just dropped. We're going to go through and see if we can predict the Panthers' record in the year of 2023. Before we get into it, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It only takes you 1 second, and it really helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. So if you don't mind, please go ahead and hit those buttons. Appreciate it. Let's dive into week one. These two games, we already knew what was coming. These games leaked out in the past 24 hours. So at Atlanta and then Monday night against the Saints will be Bryce Young's first home game as a Panther. Um, we're going to 7:15. Interesting. Did they move up the Monday night football time? We're going to give the Panthers a split there. We're going to say they go 1-1 in the first 2 weeks. Week 3 at Seattle, I'm going to call that a loss. The Panthers are going to be a team that's still coming together going into Seattle. That's a tough place to play. Seattle was good last year. They should be even better this year. So I'm going to call that a loss for the Panthers, unfortunately, in week 3. I think in week 4, we see Adam Thielen get his revenge on the Vikings. The Vikings are a very up and down team. They're good against bad teams, bad against good teams. So I think the Panthers win that one at home. Then the Panthers go up to Detroit and play in Miami in back-to-back road games in October. I'm going to say the Panthers split those games. So through 6 weeks, we have the Panthers sitting at 3-3, going into a week 7 bye. Week 7 bye is not bad. You generally want something a little later than that, but at least it's not as early as week 4 or 5. So you can't hate it because it's better than, it's middle of the road pretty much as far as bye weeks go. So then that brings us to the end of October, where the Panthers play week 8 against Houston. We're definitely going to call that a win for the Panthers. Hopefully we get a C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young face-off. I was very surprised this game wasn't put in prime time, being that it's the number 1 pick versus the number 2 pick. Potentially that's must-see TV if you ask me, but apparently the schedule makers disagree. Then we go to week 9, where the Panthers will be playing against Frank Reich's former team. He's going to get his revenge against the Colts, I believe. Hopefully by then, well, maybe not hopefully for us, but hopefully for his sake, Anthony Richardson's playing by then. I have a very hard time believe he won't see the field by week 9. So we could get top 5 picks facing off in back-to-back weeks there in weeks 8 and 9. And then maybe the biggest game on the Panthers schedule, just because of everything they traded to move up in the draft to get Bryce Young with that number 1 pick. DJ Moore is a Chicago Bear. Deontay Foreman's a Chicago Bear. PJ Walker's a Chicago Bear. They have our first round pick next year. They have our second round pick the year after that. We want to beat the Bears. We want to come out on top of this trade. So this is probably the biggest game outside of the division for the Panthers this year. And I'm going to give them the win on Thursday night in Chicago. Going to be a tough game, but I know Panthers fans want that one bad. And I think Chicago was the worst team in football last year. That's why they had the first overall pick. And I don't think they've improved that much this offseason. They've definitely improved, don't get me wrong. But I don't know if it's enough to beat the Panthers on a Thursday night, week 10. So we'll see how that goes. Then Dallas. Dallas has a very good defense. They've got a lot of pieces on offense. They're really just a much more developed team than the Panthers right now. So I'm going to call that a loss, unfortunately, for the Panthers. But I think in week 12, when they go to Tennessee, that's definitely going to be a win. Hopefully we'll see Will Levis in that game and give him absolute hell, my least favorite quarterback of this draft. Then at Tampa Bay, that's a win for me. At Saints, again, it's the Saints and Falcons back-to-back. I'm going to call that a split again. And interestingly enough, this one says to be decided. So I guess we'll see what happens with that date and time. Then Packers week 16. I'm going to call that a win for the Panthers. Jordan Love's first year as a starter. It's going to be Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve at home at Bank of America Stadium. I think the Panthers get the win there. At Jacksonville, this could be a huge game for the Panthers, facing off against Trevor Lawrence, a young, talented Jacksonville team that just went to the playoffs last year. Playoff implications could be on the line in this game. So I'm going to give the Panthers a loss in that game. And then I expect the Panthers to sweep Tampa Bay. I don't expect them to be very good this year. So we'll call that a loss. So that sits the Panthers at 11-6. All right. So that will be our official prediction: 11-6 for the Carolina Panthers in 2023, which should be good enough to get them into playoffs. Probably good enough to win the NFC South. So if the Panthers can finish anywhere close to that, I promise you, no fan is going to complain. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one, man. Keep pounding.